NAB shares entered a trading halt late yesterday afternoon, so today was the first chance for investors to react, and while NAB shares were down, the sector was mixed. As our politicians debate the outcome of the Banking Royal Commission,
if no one gets prosecuted or charged, I think Australians will say there's been a cover-up.
What matters most to the people of Australia from here is that the culture within these banks change.
Investors are weighing the impact of NAB's booting of its most senior executives as the bank undergoes a restructure which includes the sale of its wealth management business.
Investors are now worried there's some execution risk with regards to the bank's turnaround strategy and where to from here.
A global search is on for the top job.
I think you'd be best to look for a domestic banker, someone that has deep experience in the Australian financial landscape.
Analysts say internally, NAB Director Phil Cronican, who will step in as acting CEO, is highly regarded, while former New South Wales State Premier Mike Baird, who runs the bank's retail business, is also a front-runner. As for the future of the rest of the board,
some of the board should consider their position and think about moving on. Not all of them, because we need to retain some corporate memory.
More broadly, Elio D'Amato says a miss in the Royal Commission recommendations was to address board governance.
I mean, we're talking about a board where some members actually have another 2 board positions. Now, when you're talking complex institutions like a bank, how can you possibly be all across the fine intricacies when you're also responsible for other major listed entities?
NAB, along with the rest of Australia's banks, are also facing structural change, namely a downturn in the housing market, which the RBA said today is a significant area of uncertainty. In releasing its quarterly statement on monetary policy, the RBA said the implications of the housing market correction for the broader economy depend on how households respond.
When your value of your home is going down, you feel poorer. You're not as happy to spend anymore.
It prompted a downgrade in its forecasts for GDP growth, but it's expecting unemployment to fall and inflation to rise, albeit more slowly, to within its 2 to 3% target band. Shane Oliver says the Reserve Bank is too optimistic.
The RBA has the unemployment rate falling. We actually think it will start to drift up in response to weak economic growth. That all is going to feed back to consumer spending.
As a result, Mr Oliver believes we'll see an official interest rate cut around June.